our thoughts and feelings are our own and are not representative of Electronic Arts as a whole or anyone else.
Once again, it's time for the Team Lift podcast with your hosts, Brendan Bowie and Roderick McDaniel. Let's go ahead and get right into the show. All right, man. Let's get into this. Today's show, we're going to talk about something that I think is going to be shocking for most people. We both went and watched Wonder Woman Thursday, thanks to Brendan, who somehow miraculously won the lottery, got 3 tickets to Wonder Woman. We went to the very first showing in Austin. Those were the opening showings Thursday night.
Yep.
Once again, thanks. I owe you big for that. Okay, love the movie. I don't go to the Draft House a lot. I'd rather go to a cheap ass Cinemark and save my money instead of pay all that money to go sit in the Draft House. Because when I go to the Draft House, I end up drinking like bougie beer. That's what I do. I drink like ciders and stuff. So I try to stay away from the Draft House because it makes me bougie. But
I refuse to go anywhere else.
I cannot go to the Draft House. My brother is a movie house and eatery guy. I go to Cinemark. I'll go to the Regal. Well, the Regal here plays all the art house films and the Oscar-nominated films. So last year, that became my theater of choice because I was trying to watch all the Oscar films, which I still missed out on La La Land somehow. But
it's okay. It's a terrible movie.
It was not. You shut your whore mouth. Okay. That's another episode. We're not getting into that. Today's episode is about a wonderful film that we just watched. Pun intended. We went and saw Wonder Woman. And I think it's safe for us to say Team Lift has a reputation. And it's all your fault, Brandon. We have a reputation.
It's my fault.
It's your fault.
That people keep making bad movies.
It's your fault. Here's our reputation. People know us as the guys. I've seen that. People know us as the guys who review geek culture. That's our thing. We got some stuff coming up. We're starting to get some inroads with other groups because we're the geek culture guys and we review everything. But Brandon, you have a reputation on this show as being the harshest movie critic in America. It is growing. Your reputation is starting to precede you, man. I will give you are known for one slogan. This show is known for a slogan. Your review of Superman versus Batman.
10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag?
It's what we are known for. That one line, 10 pounds worth of shit in a 5-pound bag, is what we are known. People know that line. That's how you review that movie. People also know the line when you say he could have just moved his hand up from his neck to over his eyes. We're known for that.
It's like 6 inches, man. It would have made all the difference in the world.
Our review of that was so scathing. Not even ours. Don't put this on me. This review was so scathing that my buddies called me to laugh about that episode still to this day in your review. So there was a lot of hype about us going, that I was hyped to go see Wonder Woman. I wanted to see it. I told you my brother, who's listened to us before, had said, hey, I'm done. It's an abusive relationship, kind of like my review. When I said Kanye, being a Kanye West fan was like being in an abusive relationship. We're always having to make excuses for Kanye doing dumb shit. Yeah. I said the same thing about DC movies. We're in an abusive relationship with DC Cinematic Universe. We keep waiting for them to make a great movie, but they keep abusing us with bullshit. Mm-hmm. And then we got to make excuses for why we went and paid money to watch a bullshit film, because we gave money for them to make more bullshit, and they're going to keep feeding us bullshit because we keep paying for it. I'm honestly happy to say the bullshit has ended.
No, I think the bullshit has ended temporarily.
It's ended temporarily. It is. They gave us what I would like to say. When I think of hero films, Wonder Woman is in my top 3 of all time now. I'll put it in my top 3 hero films of all time. That top 2, hard to penetrate the top 2, because 1 and 2 kind of switch places with each other depending on how I feel. But Winter Soldier and Logan, that's my 1-2 punch of greatest hero films of all time, where they were so cinematically well done and the story was so well executed that it was just a great cinematic experience. Those are my 1-2 punch. Wonder Woman's in that top 3.
Yeah. I don't even think that, in terms of Logan versus Winter Soldier versus Wonder Woman, I think Wonder Woman and Winter Soldier are in the same category, and Logan's in a category of its own. Because, in Logan, you're not trying to save the fucking world. You're not trying to do anything other than just save a bunch of kids. And in Wonder Woman, you're saving the world. In Winter Soldier, you're saving the world. Like, they're
Stakes were higher.
Yeah, stakes are higher, but Logan is more of a Western than it is a superhero movie. It just happens to have superhero movie elements in it. Whereas Wonder Woman and Winter Soldier are pure comic book. This is
extravagance.
Yeah.
I mean, they were big budget. When I think of Hollywood films, like when I was a kid, the golden era, when I was a kid, I guess is what we would say, growing up in the 80s, when you went to the movie theater and you saw a big budget film, you saw like E.T. or you saw Raiders of the Lost Ark. When you saw these big budget films, you knew, I've seen something special, okay? And a lot of times when we go to the movies, we're so used to 3D special effects that we're jaded. We're so used to the effects and the CG art that we just get jaded now. And you don't get that feeling of awe all the time when you go to a movie. You almost come out of a movie disappointed if it doesn't, the effects are poor. Wonder Woman.
Actually, I think it's kind of gone the other way. We're so fucking deep into special effects now that when a movie comes out that doesn't have them, we're awed when it's good.
Possibly, yeah, when it's good.
And when a shit movie comes out and it has special effects, like, I don't know, pick any one of the fucking, is it stupid line of werewolf versus vampire movies, Underworld? Whenever a new Underworld movie comes out, you're just like, okay, whatever. Because, I mean, that ostensibly, that has really awesome special effects. The CG is really good.
Yeah.
But everything else is fucking terrible.
Yeah, I agree. 100% agree with that. Wonder Woman, though, man, did so many things right. It did, and a lot of people I know, there's, like I told you, and I've said this on the show, two guys sit in that seat anytime I go to a movie theater. 8-year-old Roderick's in that seat, 46-year-old Roderick's in that seat. 8-year-old Roderick is, oh my God, we're at the movies, yeah, we're going to see superheroes, yeah. And he's way more forgiving of plot holes and drop storylines and things that just don't make sense and giant leaps of logic. 46-year-old Roderick is like, oh, we just going to forget this whole storyline that they started in the first 30 minutes of the film and we never come back to?
Yeah.
Do they think there's going to be a sequel? Or they wait till the sequel to tell me what they doing with that storyline? So 46-year-old Roderick, way more critical, way more analytical. 46-year-old Roderick had a fucking blast at this movie. I had a blast at Wonder Woman. It had the right amount of comedy. It had the right amount of lore. You said something that was shocking. You said something to me about origin films that night. You said, if every film's origin is like this one, great, I'll watch them.
Yeah, I'm fucking tired of origin stories, but if they can tell an origin story as well as they told this one, then I don't mind.
Because, and your thing is, you always say origin stories are, they start, you give me this origin, then it's like some drag after you tell me this story. It doesn't build upon itself.
Yeah.
Then it's not leading to anything. It just kind of feels like it's a disjointed or disconnected. The origin's disconnected from the main overall theme of the movie and story. This one here, though, man, they did some things that were pretty impressive with this one. One, I know that you kind of noticed this, was when they bring her to the island and she's on Themyscira, and we're just kind of watching her as a child and how she's building up, and we're kind of seeing the whole story of her aunt and her mom, and it's telling us the story of the Amazons and how Zeus created the Amazons and their purpose of the Amazons. I was thinking, wow, this is really great story. They kept a lot of the lore from the original run, plus they mixed in a little bit more of the New 52. Because I know a lot of people don't know this. All-Star Comics back in the 40s, where Wonder Woman made her appearance, was back, I think, issue 8 of All-Star Comics. I could actually probably look up a date if I had to. But it was one of these things where they say, her mother shaped her by clay, and I think it was Aphrodite originally that gave her life, And one of the things that they did with the New 52 is that they actually kind of updated the whole story, and it's that her mother shaped her out of clay, but Zeus was the one that gave breath to her. And it plays into the story really well, Let's see if I got this right. Yeah. So yeah, it was. It was back in All Star Comics #8, cover date December January 1941-42, and it was released in October of 1941. Man, this guy. First of all, let's talk about something. I don't know if you know this. The guy that created Wonder Woman. This is a character that a lot of people don't know a lot about. I mean, I think they're going to start learning more about her. But William Moulton Marston was the guy that created her. Okay, and his artist at the time was a guy named Harry Peter. Kind of uncredited with the whole thing of his creation, which seemed to happen. Artists, you have a guy that wrote the story and he'd tell you the idea for the character, and then there was a guy who actually came up with the sketches for the character and drew her. But we kind of forget this artist gave this character life.
See, that's how you know that was a different age, because you can unironically name your child Harry Peter.
Yeah, they did. They named their child Harry Peter, and nobody was wise to it until 2017, man. There you go. Yeah, here's the thing about this guy. A lot of people don't know it. William Marston was an American psychologist, and he was a writer. And what he did is he came up with this idea for Wonder Woman, right? Now, here's where this gets interesting. This guy was really one of the early feminists. I did not know this about him until recently. Like, I actually wanted to kind of go back into his truth, and try to figure out something about him. But that was the thing that blew me away, was that when he was coming up with this whole thing, he drew a great deal of inspiration from, like, early feminists. And one of his feminists that he followed really closely is one of the most controversial women in history, Margaret Sanger, the birth control pioneer, who also has some very interesting ideas about black people. Yeah. She had some very interesting ideas about black people back in the day. Well, that's all we're going to say about her to keep this from getting way out of control. But yeah, that was who he was really inspired by, this person. And he wanted to do a comic book about a strong woman character who fought, like a superhero, but didn't need to be rescued all the time. She was the one doing the rescuing. That was actually, she was initially depicted fighting Axis military forces, as well as an, assortment of colorful supervillains. Although, as the story went on, when you have Aphrodite and Zeus in the picture, you start to deal more with gods. I mean, that was just how the stories ran. And especially in the New 52, we kind of saw how she deals with gods. She had villains like Ares, Cheetah, Dr. Poison was one of her old villains, Dr. Psycho, Giganta, and Circe. So she had some interesting, villains of her own. Let's just say that. And I think what they did with this film is that they gave us a Wonder Woman film that paid homage to the original story. And one of the things that it did with the original story was that we always knew that, he was a captain in the comics. I think in this movie we called him Colonel Steve Trevor.
Yeah.
I think they called him Colonel, but I remember in the comic books he was a Captain Steve Trevor. And Steve, pilot, crash lands mysteriously on Themyscira or Paradise Island. And and he's rescued in the comic book by Diana and her friend Mala. They rescued him, and then she had him nursed back to health. And when she nursed him back to health, she ended up falling in love with him. And her mother set up this contest, said, we're going to determine which one of the Amazons is the most worthy. Whoever is the most worthy will be the one that goes back with him. You'll escort him back to his world, and you'll fight for justice alongside him. All right. She told Diana, you cannot be in the contest. Diana wore a disguise, proves herself most worthy, beats all the other opponent, tears her mask off, and...
What are you going to do?
Yeah, got to let me go. Now, here's my question. I always thought this as a kid. How many women were on the island that you could wear a damn mask and they not know that's your ass? I'm just like, really, player? I mean, even as a kid, I thought that, but it's like, it's an island full of women. How many women are going to be looking at you going, I wonder who that girl in the mask that looks kind of like Diana, but her face is covered.
She's from the north side of the island.
Yeah. She from the north side? Yeah. She be with the north side Amazons. We don't know her play. I was like, as a kid, I could never figure that story out. That was one thing that always threw me off. I was like,
there's probably a reason why they didn't do it. But they did kind of do it, but they didn't do it. Like, she proves herself to be the most capable warrior by beating the most capable warrior, and then later she just says, fuck it, I'm leaving.
Yeah, and the way she does it in the movie is way better.
Yeah.
The way they do it in the movie, I didn't want to get too heavy on spoilers because I really want people to go see this. So we can actually say we're not going to get into a lot of spoilers. We're really breaking down the character and what they do right. I think in the movie, the way they set it up for her to prove her worth was much better in the whole thing with the building.
Climbing, yeah.
Probably the coolest thing in that whole movie was that, man. I was just kind of like, okay, she's kind of a badass.
Still don't understand why she chooses to block all the bullets with her wrists and with her shield. I mean, if you can stick your hand through a fucking brick wall, I'm pretty sure a bullet's not gonna take you out.
Bro, that's what I kept kind of thinking. I was like, really? But then again, look at the other Amazons, man. They were all...
But those Amazons weren't...
They weren't her.
They weren't Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I kind of be wondering, man. Like, is Wonder Woman possibly bulletproof? She knocked a... Okay, look. If I fire a cannon shell at you, and you can knock a cannon shell out the air...
If you can jump into the top of a church and fucking level that bitch...
There's some things where we gotta go. I don't think we got problems with her being bulletproof, bro.
It all flows back around to this fucking comic that I've seen where like Superman and Wonder Woman are standing next to each other, and Wonder Woman's blocking all the bullets with her armbands, and Superman's like, "Why are you doing that? You're bulletproof." And she just stands there and lets the bullets hit her chest, and her tits start jiggling.
Mm-hmm.
And then she looks at him, and she's like, "This is why."
That could be it. Could be it. Yeah, because dude, that I hate to say it, but that could be it. And see, and here's the thing. This is what's so weird. Like a lot of people, I had a friend of mine, and it's one of my buddies' girlfriend, and she made a post. She loved the film, and she made a post on there, and a guy friend of her came in there and said, I didn't like the whole story about how it felt like they were trying to put on that love triumphs all, you know. Mm-hmm. Love triumphs all is why is what powered her. I think that was kind of the feeling they got from it, that love is what powers her. I was kind of like, and they felt that was contrived and forced.
No, what it was is she had to make the decision whether or not humanity was worth saving or not. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like if you ever watched The Fifth Element.
Oh God, yes.
It's exactly that. It's her sitting in front of that fucking view screen and just watching humanity kill itself, and then trying to figure out a reason why she should bother doing the job that she does.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's the funny thing about that. Listen to this. Now, this is William Moulton Marston, a psychologist already famous for inventing the polygraph, struck upon an idea for a new kind of superhero, one who would triumph not with fist or firepower, but with love. Fine, said his wife Elizabeth, but make her a woman. Mm-hmm. That is seriously how we got the birth of Wonder Woman. That is a great comic. We need to probably put that on on our page, man. That's funny. Now here's the thing, man. He introduced the idea to Gaines. Given the go-ahead, Marston developed Wonder Woman, who he believed to be a model of that era's unconventional, liberated woman. He also drew inspiration from the bracelets worn by Olive Byrne, who lived with the couple in a polyamorous relationship. Mm-hmm. Bro, in the 40s, he was doing some things that were above. He was ahead of his time. Let's just be honest. He was in a poly love triangle relationship, basically, in the 40s. He created Wonder Woman. He was the creator of the systolic blood pressure measuring apparatus. He created the lie detector. Here's what he said. His experience with polygraphs convinced him that women were more honest in situations different than men and would work more efficiently. And so that was the kind of thing he wanted with Wonder Woman. That's how her whole lasso of truth came about. Yeah, so he had, bro, he did some things. This guy was way ahead of, he was way ahead of his time, man.
So yeah, in comics, she is bulletproof.
That's New 52, so she is bulletproof in New 52.
Yeah.
So we see it now that she is bulletproof. But look at the bullets. They're bouncing bullets off of her chest plate. Did that bullet just hit her in the face?
Yeah, it hit her in the cheek and bounced off.
And it bounces right off? Man, they could have did that in the scene and I'd have been hyped. But then again, I think old school people remember her always using the bracelets.
That's the other thing, too, is it might also be like she doesn't realize that she's bulletproof. because she watched a bunch of people on Themyscira who were just like her get fucking shot with guns and die. Mm-hmm. And so she was instinctively blocking bullets with her indestructible wristbands because she didn't realize that she wasn't going to die if she got hit by a bullet.
That's true.
It's also kind of iconic for the character to do that too.
What? I'm starting to wonder, man, because they did some real cool stuff. So it was kind of like they paid respect to the old one. But see, here's the thing. In the old comic book, you never saw her fly. But in recent comics, we know she can fly. You see her fly.
And there was a point where I leaned over to Chris Craig, and I was just like, this would be a really good time to have an invisible jet.
Bro, why? Why would you do that to that man? Okay. So, why? Why do I even go to the movies with you? I mean, there was some things, like, I think where they kind of pulled some of these characters, they pulled elements. Like, one of the things that we saw, the whole thing with Zeus giving her life comes from the New 52. The whole thing with, being shaped of clay, that's always been there. All right.
See, I don't think that whole shaped of clay being brought to life by Zeus thing was true.
Yeah, that was actually New 52.
Well, no, I know that was New 52, but I think in the context of the movie, I don't think that was true. I think that Zeus came down and got some of that, and then...
You think so?
Yeah.
You know what? Let's look at this. I'm actually going to check something for you.
Because it's implied at the end of the film that she's a god.
That could be true. That could be true. This is interesting because in the New 52, when they started that whole series, you kind of knew Wonder Woman was, there were some things that were going on. Okay, so they kept the part of clay in Breath by Zeus. But in New 52, I think when they started it, I want to say New 52 when they started that storyline, it looks like she was just the daughter of Zeus and what was it? Hippolyta? Hippolyte? Or however they say that woman. Her mama. Hippie, her mama. And so this is interesting. Now, what it says here, and this was the first storyline from the September 2011 when they launched the New 52. Among the major changes to the character, Wonder Woman now appears wearing a new costume similar to her older one and has a completely new origin in this timeline. She's no longer a clay figure brought to life by the magic of the gods. Rather, she is the demigoddess daughter. Her original origin is revealed as a cover story to explain Diana's birth as a means to protect her from Hera's wrath. Currently, Diana has taken on the role and title as the new god of war. Now, that's true because they go through this whole thing where she got into a fight with Ares in the new comic book, and a bunch of gods were making plays and moves. It was almost like a Game of Thrones story when they started it up. So the Greek messenger god Hermes entrusts Wonder Woman with the protection of Zola, a young woman who is pregnant with Zeus's child from Hera, who's seething with jealousy and determined to kill the child. So Hera's mad because Zeus keeps dropping seed in everybody. So what it looks like is that she was the daughter of Zeus, but they told her he just breathed the breath into the clay to keep her alive.
To keep her safe from Hera. But in this continuity, there are no more Greek gods. She's the only one left because Ares killed all the other gods but Zeus. Zeus injured Ares. Ares took off. Zeus went into hiding. Mm-hmm. Then Zeus created Wonder Woman with Hippolyte to be the weapon to take out Ares. And then, what happens in the movie happens in the movie.
Yeah, so man, this is
so she's
crazy.
Literally the only thing other than the Amazons left of the Greek pantheon.
And so in the new timeline, Hera basically was hunting down and killing several illegitimate offspring of Zeus. Whoa, so here's where it gets interesting. See, I didn't collect this whole thing, but I think I'm going to the comic book shop to buy that collected prints. Because this is where it gets good. She finds out that one of her half-siblings was Lennox Sandsmark, who would transform himself into living marble-like stone, and before his death was revealed to be the father of Wonder Girl, Cassie Sandsmark. His killer, the firstborn, the oldest progeny of Zeus, would become Wonder Woman's first major supervillain of the New 52. The story focused on Wonder Woman's quest to rescue Zola from Hades, who had abducted her and taken her to hell. At the end of the 6th issue of the series, the male children of the Amazons are introduced, and Diana learns about the birth of her brothers. The Amazons used to infrequently invade ships coming near their island and force themselves on the sailors before killing them. After 9 months, the birth of the resulting female children were highly celebrated, and they were inducted into the ranks of the Amazon, while the male children were rejected. In order to save the male children from being drowned to death by the Amazon, Hephaestus traded weapons to the Amazons in exchange for them.
Yeah. Hephaestus is the armor of the gods.
Yeah. Who shows up in the Justice League cartoon series in a Wonder Woman story, where Ares was building the war robot. He was trying to fund a war in Central America. And that's one of my favorite episodes of Justice League. And that was a great story, but that's where he shows up. So this is cool, man. Like, the New 52, which we've said before, was pretty powerful for giving us some great runs. And one that the most celebrated is my favorite, is I always talk about the Batman run from Scott Snyder. I thought it was probably one of the most amazing Batman runs since Frank Miller. But some of the most celebrated stories out of it, and as you remember, the Wonder Woman was a top seller with Batman when they launched the New 52. And that was something we've always talked about, was that Aquaman was redone, Wonder Woman was redone, Superman was redone. He was not as popular. It kind of sucked. But Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and Batman had amazing runs. I need to go collect these, man, because this story is even better. So I kind of pulled some of that. I could tell in the movie some of this is New 52 stuff, and they set this up for it to be a pretty amazing film franchise if they wanted to do some continuations, part 2, part 3. I could see them going. I think we're going to get our next shot of Wonder Woman is in the new Justice League film that's coming this November.
Yep.
Let me ask you this. Based on what we saw, do you feel better about a Justice League film?
I feel better about a Justice League film now that Snyder's gone.
Let's touch.
And that Whedon is coming in to do reshoots and is probably also going to get a crack at editing the film.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about this. That's the elephant in the room. Let's go ahead and discuss it.
Yeah.
We are known as not being fans of Zack Snyder. Okay. That's no secret. And the reason he had to leave, my heart breaks for him. As a father, I would not want to have to leave a film for the reasons he had to walk away from it. His daughter recently committed suicide, and my heart broke for him. Honestly broke for him as a parent when I heard that story.
Yeah.
I remember you were not the only person that was like, although I hate that story, I'm really glad he's off the films.
Yeah.
Because now the films have a chance to be successful.
They have a chance to breathe. And I think that's what Wonder Woman got as a film, because Zack Snyder wasn't involved with directing it. He was just executive producing it. He did some stuff on the story, but he wasn't the principal writer of the screenplay. So it's obvious to me that him being gone is going to be a good thing overall for the DC extended universe.
Yeah. Now, there was something I was reading earlier about... let me actually bring that up. Let's kind of get into this. There was some stuff about Wonder Woman that kind of got me. Now, I can't think of the freaking director's name. I know she did the movie Patty Jenkins. She did the movie Monster. Yep. Okay. And one of the things about it is Patty has not done a film since Monster. Okay. And she's we're talking about a film in 2003. And when I say Monster, that was the film with Charlize Theron. Here's some fun facts I found out. After we went and watched this, I just wanted to kind of find out more about Patty. She is the first woman to direct a superhero film. I did not know this.
Actually, no, that's not true.
That's what they're saying on IMDb. That she's the first woman to direct a superhero film. What film do you think is?
The Punisher. The 2007 Punisher Warzone was directed by a woman.
Really?
Yes.
We need to look into this, man.
And that movie is fucking awesome.
That was bad. That's the one that you sent me clips from.
Yeah, that's the one that I was like, go watch this, because Kevin Feige specifically picked the guy who was playing Punisher in
Isn't
that.
that Thomas Jane?
No, this is after Thomas Jane. Thomas Jane was like 2004, 2000 something.
Okay.
This is Punisher Warzone.
Okay.
I'm sorry, 2008 Punisher Warzone. Ray Stevenson is Frank Castle. The director for that is Lexi Alexander. And she is a female who directed a superhero movie.
We need, man, that's interesting. Super interesting. I didn't know this. They're saying this. She was only the second to command a $100 million plus budget.
Now that I would believe, because this Punisher movie didn't have that huge of a budget.
Yeah, $100 million budget, man. I was tripping out. Here's what I didn't know. Third little fact: she actually said her heart sank when they picked Gal Gadot. She said, "I would have never picked her." She said, "But the more I started to work with her and study her, she said, then I realized I would not have made this pick, and it would have been poor for me because this is the best pick for Wonder Woman."
Yeah.
And so I thought that was kind of interesting, man, that Patty Jenkins, that was not her first choice. I was just like, really? That's not your first choice? Because, man, that's all I can see her as now is Wonder Woman. She kills that role. I mean, she embodies the role. When I think Wonder Woman, big screen Wonder Woman, 20th century Wonder Woman, 21st century Wonder Woman, I see her now in that role. She embodied it perfectly.
If they'd have done a Wonder Woman movie in the 90s, I would have picked Lucy Lawless.
Easily.
Yeah, because, I mean, she's already been playing that character.
Yeah, easily could have been that. Easily in the 90s, that's who we would have went with. But, man, this one here, can't complain.
Yeah.
Can't complain. I think a lot of people are going to want to hear our overall reviews of it. I think that's why they're listening to this, to see what we're going to say. It's been very favorable. I don't think we said anything bad about it. I've said it already. It's in my top 3 hero films of all time.
Yeah.
Top 3. Easily top 3. Could move into number 2 based on how I feel and what day of the week it is. Okay? Hell, could be number 1 based on how I feel and what day of the week it is. But I will always judge most superhero movies by Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier just hit so many things right and did what I expect of a big budget film that it's just like, oh my God. That's what I judge. That's why I can't even say like Civil War was a great movie. It was good, but it wasn't Winter Soldier good. I say that all the time. I say, yeah, it was a good movie. I liked it. I enjoyed it, but it'll never beat Winter Soldier. That's where I am. Winter Soldier kind of fucked up the game for me.
This movie's better than Winter Soldier.
You're going to say it's better.
It's better. Mainly because it flows so fucking well. Like, the pacing is perfect. There's never any lulls. There's always something on the screen that
I know those 3 films are in your top 5.
Keeps you looking at the screen. Like,
yeah,
you're never distracted.
No.
Like, even in that moment when I leaned over to Chris Craig, I was kind of annoyed with myself for doing it because I knew that I was going to probably miss something, but it was just too fucking funny for me to not say it.
Mm-hmm.
But every time somebody walked by or something, I was like, God damn it, get out of my I'm watching this fucking movie.
Yeah.
Leave. Just fuck off.
Yeah, dog.
Clear
I was
the
on the
theater.
second row. You guys were on the front row. I was sitting between 2 women, and I had to pee like I was a little 8-year-old girl, and I got mad at myself because I had to pee. I was going to risk pissing myself.
Dude, I ran out of the theater like right before it started and went to the bathroom because I knew I didn't want to have to get up.
Bro, those 2 beers. So I don't go to the draft house, man, because I can't stay away from bougie-ass
you could
beers.
Just not drink them if you just don't
Who
order
the hell
them.
goes to the draft house and don't drink?
I do usually.
Yeah.
I mean, I did have a beer that night, but
yeah.
Usually I go to the draft house and I'll just fucking order water. I go to the draft house because I know that the sound system, the fucking the projection system are all going to be amazing. The seating is nice. I get to pick where I want to go. Like, the theater never fucking smells. It's not sticky.
See,
fucking
everything you're saying right now is why I go to the Cinemark in Pflugerville.
Talks.
This is every reason I go to the. But then again, I
The
go to the
Cinemark in Pflugerville, the only reason why it's like that is because nothing ever happens in Pflugerville.
Thank you, Jesus. And I love going there. My brother is like, you are the Cinemark king. Like I told him, we're going to the Sunday night showing at 10:15. Why? Kids are in school and they can't be out at that late showing. Parents are putting their kids to bed. And he was like, you're saying that as a parent. I said, I'm saying that as a parent and a cinema junkie. I know when to go to the damn movies. So I go to avoid kids. And that was, I'm still probably going to go see this again. I think I'm going back to the theater.
You know what? We should just go after we finish this.
You want to go back again?
Yeah. I was trying to get Nick to come. Like, I was like, look, we'll just go to the 11:20 showing at the Village. We'll fucking hit it. Come over here and record.
Yeah, no, man, it's going to get watched again. I'm saying it right now. The film's phenomenal. I'm going to, okay, so you're saying better film. Is it your number one favorite, or is that still Logan?
Well, that's the thing is, like, I can't put them in the same category. If you want to talk about big budget, superhero, save the world, or save the universe movies, yeah, Wonder Woman's at the top right now. Wonder Woman,
Whoa.
Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy 1.
I knew those were these. I knew you had a top 5,
Yeah.
and I knew Guardians was in there. I knew Winter Soldier was in there. I know you love Logan.
Yeah.
These are not secrets. I did not know where Wonder Woman was going to fall on your list because you came out of Suicide Squad. You went, it was okay.
Yeah.
Which was huge. That was huge for you to say, yeah, it was okay.
There's one thing too, is that their depiction of World War One was scarily fucking accurate.
Okay. Let me go ahead and talk about this. Friend of the show, Joe Nathan, who we hadn't talked about in a while, watched it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the things that he said about the film was that, if we think about World War One, it was one of the scariest wars. It's one of the big points about Battlefield 1, the video game, was that how World War One was this war where we did bring in gas. We did bring in, chemical warfare and tanks and semi-automatic weapons. There were some things that started to show up.
There was a lot of shit that was going on in that
we
movie.
weren't prepared for in war.
So the point where they were crossing in Belgium,
mm-hmm.
You know how it looked like there was just a shitload of mud everywhere?
Mm-hmm.
The reason being is that Belgium had a whole bunch of dikes that they were using to keep the sea out of Belgium so that they could eventually turn it all into farmland, which they managed to do after a long period of time. The first thing that happened right after World War One broke out was the Belgians went down and broke all the fucking dikes down to flood the area to fuck over whoever was trying to take over Belgium. So all that mud that's there, that's the reason. Like, that's all seawater that's flowing into that region and fucking everything up on purpose.
Yeah.
Like, there was a whole stretch at the front where, like, if you stepped off of they had, like, these wooden paths that were just, like, planks, basically. If you stepped off of one and stepped into the mud, that was it. Like, your commanders or whoever the hell you were with, they wouldn't even bother trying to pull you out because it was fucking impossible. They would just shoot you as a mercy. So there's, like, probably close to 1 million people who are just buried underneath the ground. No graves, no headstones, no nothing, no way to get them the fuck out. And that's a huge part of World War One. That was like most of the northern part of the northern front was just horrific. Not to mention the fact that, I don't know, they would order people into charges, and if they didn't actually follow through with the charge, there were people behind them to shoot them for disobeying orders. There were people with PTSD who would just break down and fucking, like, run. And the second they ran, they got shot. Like, World War One was fucking horrible.
Oh, no, it was brutal. And in the film, I think they do a better depiction of it than you expect. Yeah. It was freaky.
If you want to listen to something about World War One, just to get an idea of how fucking horrible that war was, Dan Carlin's Hardcore History. He has a 5-part series on World War One. And pretty much everything that's in the movie, with the exception of, like, Dr. Poison and the super gas that they were making, is straight out of World War One. Like, they had these bombs that they went and planted in the ground that they were going to be opening up that had the sarin gas in them to fucking gas people, the mustard gas to gas people. Mm-hmm. They never had air deployment of it. It was always just like shit being broke open on the ground and then the wind carrying it around and killing people. But yeah, World War One. I can see why they use World War One as a setting instead of World War Two, just because it's the turning point between the old style of battle where you still had horses on the battlefield, you still had bayonet charges on the battlefield, you still had the use of like smaller 30-40 pound cannons on the battlefield, and then you're scaling all the way up to like tanks and fucking cars and motorcycles and fucking planes and dropping bombs on people. Like, it's this weird mash of the old world and the new world, like the old world dying, old world style war dying, and then turning into the new industrialized war scene. And so it gives you a vehicle to have this Amazon who's coming from a society where everybody's still running around shooting bow and arrows at each other, hitting people with swords and having to ride on horseback. It gives her a way into that war because there's still horses. She still knows how to do that. Mm-hmm. But it's also her coming from the old world and coming into the new modern age.
Yep.
So it's really a good introduction for her as a character because
she fought those Axis powers, like I said, that was in the 40s, that was in the comic book, that's what she was fighting. So I thought it was perfect for her because when she came in, she was a World War I kind of hero. She was, fighting alongside the boys and trying to fight for true justice in the American way on the battlefield.
That no man's land.
Yeah, bro. This to me, man, was a really good film. It was hard for me to score it, because I wanted to wait a couple of days because we watched it Thursday. And when I walked out the film, somebody asked me, one of my buddies reached out to me, hey, how did you think about it? I said, it's damn near hard not to give it a 10, but I want to wait a couple of days before I score it.
It's a 10.
I wanted to wait because I wanted to make sure it wasn't just the hype of seeing the movie. And even Friday, I was still battling between the lowest I could go would be a 9.5, but I think that's too low. You know what I mean? Like, I felt it was too low to give this film.
I had 0 expectations, so 10 is fine.
Yeah. To me, I think the thing that got more people was that you watched a DC film and came out and gave it a 10. I think that said more about this film and why like everybody's been asking me lately, should I go see it? Yes. The answer is yes. Don't wait for it to come to video. Don't wait till it to go to Netflix. Yeah. Watch this in a theater on a big screen. I don't care if you do the 2D or 3D. We did a 2D. I'm really, the whole 3D phase is lost on me. I'm not really big on 3D anymore.
I can't do 3D in a theater unless I'm in literally the perfect seat. Otherwise, I start getting headaches and one of my eyes starts watering.
Yeah,
it's bad.
3D is lost on me. I am so over the 3D craze.
It's specifically because of the, and it doesn't happen to me on the Vive at all. It's specifically because the IDP that they have, or IPD, the interpupillary distance that they have on those glasses, and that they shoot the films at, is at an average for humans, and I have a smaller than average pupil distance. Right. So my interpupillary distance is actually lower than what the Vive can do, which I think is like 66.4, 66.7 or something like that. And I think mine is a little bit lower than that.
Wow.
So for some reason, I go to a 3D film and it's just horrible.
Yeah. 3D is lost on me anyway. I'm just like, I don't care. Because here's half the time, the 3D sucks. Have you ever gone to a 3D movie and noticed they barely did anything that was worthy of the 3D?
The thing that I don't like about it is the fact that they don't compensate for the brightness. So like when you're wearing the 3D glasses, they have a tint to them that makes everything darker, and they don't oversaturate the brightness on the film to compensate for the loss in brightness that you get by putting the glasses on.
Oh, I never thought about that. Yeah. I was so for you're going with a 10.
Yep.
Done.
Yep.
10 out of 10. And you feel, are you more excited to see Justice League? Less excited? About the same?
I'm about the same on Justice League.
I
hope it reaches this level, but I don't think that it's going to. Just because, for the most part, it's a Zack Snyder vehicle, and meh.
You're meh when it comes to Zack Snyder. I think when I found out Whedon was coming in, I got so excited.
What I think that this film is going to do is show, because all the other movies, Flash, Aquaman, etc., like all the other characters that are going to get individual films, all of them have lost directors multiple times now. And I think that this movie coming out and being this good is going to turn other directors and be like, okay, it's possible for me to make a good film in this universe now because Wonder Woman was able to do it, and all we have to do is just divorce Zack Snyder from any part of it and just give full creative control over to the director and let them rip. That's what needs to happen.
Let a director make a fucking film.
Yep.
And that's what we've always said, is that film by committee is how DC's done everything, because they make movies the way Hollywood makes movies, where Marvel says our stories are good enough, you don't need to fucking change them. Make our stories into movies.
And I mean, there's a level of creative control on the DC side, which can be stifling, like it was stifling for Ant-Man's original director, and that's why he left the project. But on the Marvel side of things, their creative direction is actually creative direction, and not just let's try to make the movie that's going to make the most money and appeal to the most people so we can make the most money.
Right.
Marvel's aim is still to make the most money, but Marvel's creative team doesn't get in the way of that.
Exactly. I agree. Couple of things we're going to touch on. Joe Nathan hit me with this, and I showed it to you before we started recording the show. There is a slight that I'm not quite sure about this. He showed me the credits, okay? And in the credits, they're talking about, hey, special thanks to George Perez, Ross Andrew, Brian Azzarello. Now, people that don't know comic books don't know that all these names I'm naming off are writers and artists who did amazing runs on Wonder Woman. You know, Lynn Wein, Greg Rucka, Greg Potter, William Messner Loebs, Jeff Loebs. Okay, so these are all great names, right? His comic book legends, we would say, that had runs on Wonder Woman. There's one name missing from the credits, and I never caught this until Joe Nathan watched it and said, there's a run missing in the credits, and nobody can explain this. And the name is, if you're a comic book reader or collector, you know this name, Gail Simone. She is probably one of the most prolific female writers in comic book history. She did Birds of Prey, Secret Six, Welcome to Tranquility, Wonder Woman, Red Sonja, Batgirl. She's done it. She had probably also one of the longest runs, I think the longest run ever on Wonder Woman. Okay. She has one.
She also wrote for Deadpool.
Yeah, she's done everything. Dude, she's done everything. There's nothing this one. In fact, she was awarded the first ever True Believers Comic Award for the Role of Honor Comic of Excellence at London Film and Comic Con. She won the first one. This woman is amazing. Her name does not show up in the credits. And to me, I don't know if that was an intentional slight. I don't know what's going on with that.
I doubt it. It's probably an oversight.
It has to be an oversight. But that's a pretty freaking huge oversight. I mean, let's just be honest. This woman, she is notable for being the longest running female writer. She's not the first. She's never been the first, but she had the longest run. And I just don't know how her name does not end up in the credits at all. Like, of anybody. Now, and I saw where they kind of gave a shout out to the Marston family. Because, Papa Marston did create the character, but I just still thought it was kind of weird that her name never shows up in these credits after he sent that to me. And I was like, I'm going to go watch it again, and I want to go through the whole credits, but I don't remember seeing her name in the start credits, and I don't remember seeing them in the end anywhere. For what we watched, we didn't stay for the whole credits, but I don't remember seeing them before we left.
That's the other thing that's weird. There's no after the credit scene.
Yeah, I remember you telling us that. And you said there's no after credit scene. I've already looked it up, and we ended up leaving. Leave it to Joe Nathan to stay through the credits and and find this for us, which is why he is a member of the Team Lift family. This guy does his homework, man. He went through the credits, and he looked, and he said it's not in there. He's going to a second showing today, so he's going to actually look. If he does find her name in there, we will come back and rectify this later on another episode. But as of right now, that's a huge oversight. Okay. I think we're good. I think I'm going to go ahead and say it, and I'm going to just stick with it. Pretty much to me, I'm going to have to go with it. It's been on my heart to do it. Wonder Woman gets a 10 out of 10. It is what filmmaking is all about. I think the cinematography when they were on Paradise Island on Themyscira was gorgeous. It was amazing. It was bright. It was beautiful.
And for a director who's literally never directed action before.
The fight sequences were amazing. I mean, there was not a part in this movie where, all the fight sequences were hella awesome. Like, I'm talking like fight sequences. When you see The Matrix and you think of those fight sequences, you go, whoa, those were great. These were great fight sequences.
In the fuck do we not have a Wonder Woman, brawl third-person action game? Like, why the fuck don't we have one of those yet?
Bro.
How come we don't have, an Arkham for Wonder Woman? Because that shit should have happened already.
Here's my thing. I'm telling you right now, as big as this movie's going to get, this is Sunday we're recording this show. Movie came out Thursday. They're already at 105 million going into today. They were at 105 million going into today.
And that's what, 4 days?
Yeah, so Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. 3. They were coming into Sunday at 105 million, not counting box office they're going to make today. I can't wait to see the final numbers on Sunday. But, man, I'm telling you right now, this film is set to be huge blockbuster for them. And I think we're going to see a lot more, stuff that's going to come out, man, afterwards. Were you checking to see where they're at with Rotten?
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
Let's see. I want to actually see some numbers my damn self. Now, 105 million going into today was not a bad deal, I can tell you that. They're still pulling a 93% across the board with critics and audiences. They deserve every bit of that.
Doesn't have numbers on this page. Let me go back.
Yeah, I know what we saw going into today. Last thing I saw was 105 million going into today. What do we got?
200 plus million worldwide.
Dang!
So
Worldwide opening of 200 plus million already.
Yep. Some outlets are predicting that the film's final domestic bow and at 95 to 97 million range, just shy of 100 million. Blah, blah, blah. When was this written? This was written on the 3rd.
So yesterday.
Yeah, this was yesterday.
See, so last I saw this morning, 105 was where they were at. So that's, I'm willing to go with that, man. That's going to be a huge film.
There's no doubt that the final worldwide box office opening will be right around 200 million by close of business day on Sunday and could go north of that number.
So they're expecting it to hit it, based on what it's opening. Yeah, solid film. And I'm going to talk about this stupid-ass controversy because every time something good happens, there's always one asshole that's got to ruin it. You know, there's some lawyer here in Austin that's wanting to bring a lawsuit because of the female-only viewings that happen here in town at the Ritz, the Draft House Ritz.
Fuck that shit. It's so stupid.
So fucking stupid. I hope this case gets thrown out of court and he gets ridiculed for the rest of his fucking life for being a schmuck and an idiot. Amazing film. And if you had a problem with that, you're probably part of the reason our society's kind of screwed up. You're an idiot. Don't let that stop you from watching what is probably one of the most entertaining, fun superhero films that is going to come out for a long, long time.
So currently, this was posted within the last hour. It says that they're at 223 million worldwide, and 95 million of that is from the 3D showings.
Wow.
Yeah. So
there it is. So it says in the United States,
29%
29% of the film's 100.5 million opening came from 3D performances. And we just skipped a 3D, and that's how a lot of people are watching it. So it's still big with somebody.
And 3D has its merits. If the entire film is shot to be in 3D and it actually tries to take advantage of those shots, then I think it's fine. But when it's the simulated 3D where they shoot it in 2D and then they basically just use CG and shit to create some 3D parts, that's when it gets dumb.
Yeah, I personally don't do the 3D. It's not for me. But hey, for the people that loved it, it's looking like it was a moneymaker for them. So it ain't going to stop no time soon based on these numbers. So it locked up the top spot, man. That's awesome. Definitely, our final word before we get out of here, Wonder Woman, a 10 out of 10 with both of us.
Also,
what's up?
One more thing. Finally, a fucking DC movie that wasn't desaturated as shit for no reason.
Oh my God! There
was actual color in this film.
Bullshit that we get with every Zack Snyder film. It was so good. It was so refreshing.
It made sense at the portions where they were going through the trenches and they're going through the war.
Yeah,
portions of it. But like Themyscira is fucking amazing looking. Like
London. The London shot back then. The London shot current time near the end of the film.
Yeah,
lovely.
Yeah,
amazing. The museum she was working at. Lit up brightly, loved it.
Yeah.
To me, this is what I want from a movie. They did so many freaking things right.
It's like
so many freaking things right.
They don't need to desaturate the whole movie to affect the tone that they're looking for. And I think that's something that DC should continue to realize as they move forward in the rest of their films.
I hope they learn a lot from this film. I hope they look at this and say what made this film ring with critics and audiences.
I think they should just give her the Kevin Feige title.
We should just give it to Patty Jenkins and say, take over the DC universe for us,
take it over. Just do it.
I'm for that. Can we just start our own campaign, Patty Jenkins become the Kevin Feige of the DC universe? I think we could get followers.
Yeah.
I think we could get the followers if we do this. But she did a damn good job. Don't be one of these guys that's like, oh, it's a Wonder Woman, it's a chick flick. No, it's a superhero film, and it's probably going to be one of the best ones that you will take your family to this year. A must-recommend see on the big screen. I'm done. I mean, that's where I'm at on it. Man, you guys have a wonderful week. Thanks for listening to the show. We'll see you same geek time, same geek channel next week. Bye. Thanks for listening to the Team Lift Podcast with your hosts, Brendan Bowie and Roderick McDaniel. Join us again next week as we discuss more topics from geek culture. Be sure to follow us on our Twitter page @GoTeamLift, as well as our personal pages @Coach Silky and @Thighside. You can direct questions or comments to us on our Twitter page, as well as find links to all of our social media outlets. Thank you for listening. See you again next week.